All right, guys. Blue Wave Hydrangeas. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to day 30 of Acrylic April. Now, I didn't do all 30 days. Oh, I'm Stephanie from Deliberately Creative, and we're going to do this really pretty hydrangea. Now, I didn't do all 30 days of Acrylic April. I did Monday through Friday every week of April, and they were all live shows. So if you're interested in seeing any of the other live shows that we've done, click up here at the top and the playlist will drop down, and you can look at the playlist and see what things we did. It's a pretty good catalog of paintings, I think. And if you've been here for every one of the paintings, thank you. And if this is the first time you've been here to see one of my paintings, thank you. Click that subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to be notified when I do more fun art lessons here on YouTube. All right, we are doing this Blue Wave Hydrangea. It is an actual name of the plant. I was looking for something that had wave in the name, that wasn't a watery wave, or wasn't somebody just waving, because, you know, I wanted something a little bit different, and it seems like folks are really enjoying blue flowers. I don't know. I really like them, and I like the fact that there's a bit of a magenta kind of feel to these also. I just realized that I left all of my brand new paints sitting in a pile out in the living room. So my handy helper is going to find all those paints sitting in front of the paintbrush drawer and bring them to me, because I have magenta and phthalo blue. I have not had a real phthalo blue this entire month. Hey guys, woohoo! I am so glad to be a diversion for you. I know a lot of people... Oh, nope. You got to come right over here. There you go. There's my hand. There's my hubby hand. So I picked up from Jerry's some more acrylic gouache. These are bigger tubes, but I've got a magenta and a phthalo blue and a diazonine violet. So I'm pretty excited. Yeah, I heard the weather is being really crazy out east. Here, we are going to be about 73, 74 degrees, soft breezes, and blue skies with some puffy clouds. Maybe a sprinkle here and there, but this is the Pacific Northwest, so we get that kind of stuff. Thank you guys so much. Remember to share this out. I just realized that I didn't share anywhere today about this painting. So if you can, you know, pop onto that little share button and share it on your Twitter and on your Facebook, that would really be helpful to me because I was so drilled down into a special project that I have going, which is right now all of my patrons over on Patreon have a link to a gallery on my website that's password protected. They have to go to the Patreon page to get their link. And they have an opportunity to pre-sale buy any of the new paintings. I've already sold one, Foxy Nature. Nature is Foxy. That one's gone. But all the other ones are still available, and it's a really good deal. Tomorrow, all of the paintings will go on sale, open to everyone. But right now, if you want a chance to get something that you have your heart set on, go join my Patreon for a month. $2 for a month. It's not a big deal. Anyway, I'm going to get off that. I have 140-pound 140-pound watercolor paper coated with black acrylic gesso. This is one coat of black acrylic gesso. I just did it so that it would be dry and flat. It kind of stretches the paper a little bit when you get it wet and then it dries again. and it sort of settles the paper down. I could have done 2 coats, but there's going to be several coats of paint on here. We have a traceable pattern of this Blue Wave Hydrangea. The reason why it's called a blue wave, it's blue, but the flowers go in waves. So you have your flower buds, you've got a wave of open flowers. You have more flower buds, and you have a wave of open flowers. So it just sort of works its way down and out, and these end up with huge heads on them. So pretty. Hey there, Miss Lorianne and Joan, Sandy, and everybody else that's come in. Thank you for being here. Kathy D. Oh my goodness. You know, we have beautiful here in the Great Northwest, no matter what the weather is. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do this in some layers. Since I have the background here already done, I am going to take some burnt sienna, which is sort of that brownish tone that's in here, burnt sienna, yellow, and green. Then we're going to go in with a lighter tone of yellow with a little bit more white in it. And I'm going to try doing some bokeh type dots. This is actually a alcohol ink foam daubers, but I figure as long as I get it stripped off quickly and put into the water, I can get it clean and still be able to use it. Now, I've never done alcohol ink, but I have a dauber for alcohol ink. I have alcohol ink too, but I haven't ever done it. That's something that I want to play with in the coming months when we're doing some doodling. All right, let's get some paint out. So I have some permanent yellow deep. Oh, and this is just a piece of, this time it's not even palette paper. This is a piece of plastic coated freezer paper that comes in the big roll. It's a blue box. It's Reynolds freezer paper. You get it in the grocery aisle where the foil and wax paper, parchment paper, usually it's right next to the parchment paper. You don't bake with this paper. This is a plastic coating that will melt, but it's used for like wrapping meats and things like that and putting them into the freezer so that they don't get all freezer burned. Yeah, so I've got a bit of this yellow deep, and I'm going to put out some phthalo blue, and I'm just sort of wandering through my paints here. I haven't really preset these. Sometimes if you don't get the lid clean, it will stick a bit. Nice thing about these, they're plastic tubes, so you can twist on it really hard and you're not going to crimp the tube. All right, and I want some of the Viridian green. Now, I've done pretty much all the paintings this month with the Turner Acrylic Gouache. It is a real acrylic paint that is matte and much more opaque. Let's see. And then do I want maybe a little bit of this permanent green light also next to my yellow. And this is PG7PY3. It's not supposed to have any white in it, but it's got a very white cast. So I think that's probably the opacifiers. I'm going to grab my big flat brush. This is a number 1 or 1 inch Simply Simmons flat wash. It's wet. Oh, just showing you, I'm still using those used paper towels because, hey, why not? Thank you guys so much. Okay, carving out time. Tammy, I went and checked out your site. Cool stuff. Too bad that the things going on in the world right now have sort of waylaid your plans with the RV. All right, I'm taking a bit of this bright green and the yellow and some Viridian and a little bit of phthalo blue. And look at that. Looks like a rainbow. And I'm going to just start brushing it in. I'm going to have some light spots and some dark spots. Might grab more of the phthalo blue and I'm just sort of crisscrossing this on, and I'm letting it be a little bit choppy, but I'm trying to not have it be not have it be dry brush looking. I want it to actually coat. Hello, Miss Sarah. Thank you so much for being here. I hope the art classes that you are setting up for all of your students have been going well. Sarah is one of the amazing art teachers out in the world that does classes for students with so many different abilities and struggles in the world, and she brings creativity to them. It's amazing. I have much awe and admiration. I just picked up a little bit of the burnt sienna now because I want to get a few little sparks of that color in there. Oh, excellent. The feedback is good. You know, when you have to do distance type teaching and parents who aren't artists are helping their kids do their art, everybody is learning. So thank you guys. I really appreciate you being here. This is one of those, it's going to be a lot of layers. Look at that. I'm just still layering the colors on, but aren't those pretty together? And it's going to give us a very natural looking background without having to do too much at all. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and there's going to be some green leaves down here coming up soon, but we're going to do those bokeh dots. We're going to try. Get some of those on, then we'll dry it, and we will put on the outline of the flowers. See, I'm just going back and forth between these colors. I'm not really paying too much attention. But I do want to get, you know, light and dark in here. This down here is very dark. I might toss a little bit of light in. This flat brush works so nice for giving you those sort of leafy shapes. All right, now I'm going to put some white out. I still have a little bit of white. There we go. All right. I am giggling because we have so many fun people in our chats, and you guys just make me so happy. Now I'm just dropping in some of these little light. I added just a touch of white to my colors. Give it a little bit of spark. And then I'll take some even lighter colors on top. There we go. So, Miss Sarah, are you in your quarantine studio outside in your tiki trailer? Is that why your connection might be a little sketchy? All right, I'm going to take this. This is a sponge that has a bit of the fabric on the back that will stick to Velcro. So it's a dauber tool. This would be used for like alcohol inks, but I am going to pick up my acrylic paint And I'm just twirling it around on some of these paints that are here. And getting some white loaded up on one side. And we'll see. Because there's a lot of light right up here. Oh. That's interesting. Little bit of a bokeh dot type effect. Let's grab some blue into that. Giving it just a light twist. And I don't want to do too much. I think I'm going to just pick up some yellow and do a twirl. Over here off this edge, up off the top. Setting it down and giving it a twist. That's good. We're not going to do any more than that. Well, maybe I'll just go back and give it a little bit of some overlap. I wish I had a smaller sponge, smaller diameter, to give it a little more variety, but it'll be fine. Now I'm going to take that and just drop it face down onto some water so it will keep the sponge from getting all gumpy. Gumpy? Keep the sponge from going hard with the paint. There we go. We're going to dry this real quick. And as we're drying, I'm going to check out the chat. Yeah, isn't that fun? It's just sort of, we're having fun today. This is the last day of Acrylic April. 25 paintings I think I did. 25 live shows when you count tomorrow's live show. But tomorrow's live show won't be a painting. Tomorrow's live show is going to be a flip through of all the paintings that I did. Even the one or two that I did that weren't actually recorded, but I did do them as part of my Acrylic April journey. So, just drying, drying, drying. Oh yes, a tool like that, it would be awesome for doing the sun and moon. And Cinnamon Cooney, the Art Sherpa, does have a daubing tools that are different sizes. I could only find one of them. So, and it wasn't a different size than this. we have them. They're here in the house somewhere. All right. So there we go. I'm just sort of looking back up through the chat and drying this off. I want it to be nice and dry because I'm going to lay the... Oh, you found it.
I found a small one.
Okay, so the Art Sherpa daubing tools. The other one's on top of the paint box.
Yeah, there's three of them. One bigger than this one.
All right, Art Sherpa daubing tools. So, of course, I am going to take this one and the little one, get it wet and squeeze it out so it's just damp. Then I'm going to pick up, I think I'm going to make green and yellow, or yellow and blue together and get some green going. I might have got too much water in. There we go. Aha! Look at that. A few littler dots. Just to give some variety. Yay! So, the Art Sherpa tool set comes with 3 sizes. It's this one, and then an even bigger one, which I wouldn't have used on this painting. So, yeah, Martha Stewart has a line of them also. I, just had the good fortune to be able to get the Art Sherpa ones. So, you use what you've got. And if you don't have these kind of daubers, you can always cut fine sponges into circles. I would get the sponge that has the scrubby on one side so that it holds together better. Your hydrangea will be your first May painting. Now I'm taking the sponge out of the holder because there's paint in it, and I'm going to drop it into the water also so that it doesn't go all hard and gumpy. All right, dry those real quick. They'll dry quick. There's not much paint there. That just gave it a more fun shapes. Kind of like doodling on your painting. And the hydrangea will be your first May painting. Oh, excellent. All right, so now I am going to just take this is a white charcoal pencil, the General's white charcoal pencil. You can certainly put a piece of the Surreal paper underneath, the Surreal transfer paper, underneath of your flowers. Okay, which way? Do you want me to show you how to draw these, or do you want me to just trace it and get on to painting? There. I can do either way. If you lay this down with the transfer paper underneath and trace, it will be an exact replica of the drawing or tracing that you're doing. If you just look at this, it's not going to look the same. It's going to look different. It's going to be... No, it's going to be different. It's a new drawing. Every time you draw something, it's going to be a new drawing. So let me know. And the delay is so trace to demo. Excellent. I will trace to demo. So what I'm going to do is, so now I'm getting draw, trace. Well, I've got 2 trace, 1 draw. Let's see. Anybody else voting? Anybody else? I'm going to go ahead and grab the white. This is a thin paper, kind of like tracing paper, that is coated with like a chalk. Don't worry, I will trace almost all of them and I'll draw a couple of the little hydrangea flowers. We'll do it that way. We'll make it a combination. So it's a thin paper with a coating on it that's kind of like chalk that's impregnated into the paper. I'm just going to lay that down, and I can feel the edge of the tape, and I want the bottom of my flower to be at the edge of the tape. And then here, it can be going off the edge just a little bit. So I think that's good. Now, you can put a piece of tape right here. Preferably without the hair. Long hair, you know. So now it's going to pretty much stay. Yeah, everybody wins. Everybody wins. It's pretty much going to stay where it is. I'm not doing any of this stuff out here. That was more just that bokeh effect. So I am going to fold that paper around to the back, the tracing paper or the chalk paper. I'm not going to draw everything. I'm going to give myself sort of a ruffly edge where I know that it's going to be the fluffy bits. So we're going to go ruffle, ruffle, ruffle. And when you do this, you can see how this is really in waves. You've got your flowers, the buds, the flowers, the buds. So, and I'm just using, this is a mechanical pencil, but you can use any pencil, a ballpoint pen, something that has a fairly firm tip on it. And then I'm going to just start tracing the lines, just like that. Let's go ahead and zoom in so you can see even better. So the center of like the main flowers, those are actually like 4 little circles. And then it's a rounded diamond for each of the petals. And they're just a different, just sort of a different angle. They come to a firmer point where it joins at the bud, the center. I'm not going to be too particular of following the lines. We've got leaves, we've got flowers. That some of these flowers, all you see are a couple random petals. You don't see the whole flower. Like this one right here actually could be like a butterfly. Maybe it will be a butterfly, a little stylized butterfly landing. That could be fun. And then they actually have fairly heavy stems inside. And really, the leaves have a lot of texture in them. And I'm just loosely tracing. We're not... See? Scribble, scribble, scribble. I'm not putting all the details in because we're going to be painting over things. I'll draw a couple more of these little flowers here. Rounded diamonds. That's the best way. It's like a square on its point. So it's kind of a... Yeah, we'll just go up here. The petals are like that. They're sort of a rounded diamond, where this would be the center. And it roughly makes a square when you are doing it. But then your petals can be shifted and they can be tipped, and you could have one that's a shorter diamond coming like that. And that's where the petals are tipping away from you. So you have some variety and you have room to change things up. So petal, petal, petal. I'll put this one out here, and then we'll come back and we'll draw a couple more of them in. Now let's see if it even transferred, eh? Ooh, it did. Take that there. That there. Now looking at this, I know that I'm going to have to soften up a little bit of that one right there. That needs to be a little darker. Kind of a darker halo right around the top of that. Just so you can see the brighter blue of the flowers. But we are going to take that General's pencil and we're going to go 4 little circles. And then rounded diamond, rounded diamond, rounded diamond. See? And then we'll put another one right here, 4 little circles. I'm going to tip it down a little bit so it's changing its direction, isn't it? And you can put little extra lines on them where the petals have folded. See? 4 little circles. And let's say I put in roughly just a square where I want the flower to be. And then I work little lines in that square on the diagonals or in the quarters. And that's another way to put in the flower. See? This one here, you don't see as much of all the petals. Sort of flattened out, kind of behind, like that. And I have put my hand in the paint. Again. Forgot to move it out of the way. Let's just twist it. There we go. Fold that over. This is another one of my pieces of paper towel that just keeps getting used. And it dries, and you can lay it out, and it dries again. You know, if I keep these flowers darker blue, I don't need to mess with the background. But I think I want to make this come up higher. And then what I'll do is I'll just poke in a couple extra petals here and there. Just a few little random ones. You don't have to have full flowers. Your eyes are going to make it all work together. And I think that's good. We're going to start putting in some green leaves. And I think I'm going to try using the angle brush. Move that out of the way. We're still green, so I can just use my water that's in the green tones. So there we go. Yes, the pencil is a General's charcoal white pencil. And it does wash off your painting on the acrylic with just a wet brush. I am going to put in some leaves here. And looking at my reference, these leaves are actually very yellow-green. Bright yellow-green with a little bit of dark. Nice thing about having this dark background that's got all that green going on is that we can go in and do bright yellow-green. We already have the dark. So green, yellow, making almost a, let's see here. My desk is a small space when I'm zoomed in like this. So that light green, the deep yellow makes kind of a toned down green. It's bright, almost a chartreuse, I guess. And then I will pick up just a little bit of the Viridian green. And we are going to go down here. It's really interesting, these leaves have so much texture in them that I want my brush marks to sort of show through. And give it that ragged edge look. Just like that. And then maybe a little more of the Viridian green and pick up some of that yellowy green again. And we're going to go with there's one of those kind of little leaves back here. Putting the leaves in a very loose way lets you do the flowers more refined, have some of those flowers be much more detailed looking, and then you have your focus change. The looser something is, the more out of focus it is. But I do want some of that bright just sort of popping through. And then maybe see if I can find a little bit more bright. A little more bright. On one edge, maybe. We're just giving it just that little bit. And now I see the top of those flowers are very bright, and the buds are actually kind of green on the very, very, very top edge right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take some white into that, and I'm using that, the edge of my brush is pretty much fuzzed out, and we're going to just test. This is a test to see if it's going to be, it's too busy right here. So, you know how to take out something that's too busy, is you just paint over it, right? We're going to go and get a bit of that blue and the Viridian and a little bit of that weird green that we just did. and just increase the contrast a little bit. It's paint. We're not tied to an initial, the initial painting is a guideline. It is not what we have to, we don't have to follow it forever. Now I just picked up a little bit of that light green in there. See, look at that. Boom, bitty, boom, bitty, boom. And maybe we'll just take that one out too. But I'm going to bring it right up to here. And then we'll let it fade out by softening this edge. So I'm cleaning my brush out. I'm getting it just wet. No paint. Well, it's still a little dirty. I guess there's still some paint on it. It's going to pick up a little bit of the paint anyway. So there we go. We're going to go and soften up those edges just a smidge. Go into that paint that's still wet and let it glaze over the edges of this. Ah, there it is. See? We can glaze over and we can knock back some of that lighter color without losing those bokeh dots. I want them to still be there for the most part. But doing this, it allows us to get that contrast in there that we needed. I'm scrubbing on the edge of that paint. Trying to crochet a hat and watch painting. Ooh. Hey, at least I'm not counting. Which could really throw a person off if they were crocheting or knitting. I love crocheting. I love knitting. They're all really good things to keep your hands busy. There. See, I'm just working that kind of turquoise color that I put in all the way out and glazing. Now I want a tiny bit of a really, really dark color. To give it a little bit of variety. Because again, we can. We have the ability to change things up. And I like that. I like that we are not limited. Only limited by what we believe we can do. Do you know that? You're only limited by what you believe. So if somebody else believes something about your art and you don't believe it, it's not true. Because your art is your art. And the way you do something may not be the way somebody else would tell you how to do it. But if it works for you, go forth and have fun. All right, I'm cleaning my brush really well. I'm going to put in that halo. Aha. Working on masks. Yes, I found a new pattern that I want to try. It's not a new pattern for anybody else, but it's a new pattern to me. All right, I'm drying my brush off. I'm going to pick up some of that white and that bright light green and dab, dab, dab. This is going to be that top of the plant. So I don't have to go in and redo those. There's a little bunch of them right here. And there's a bunch of them that go right over the top of the green leaf. Goes in front. That leaf actually is coming from behind. So now we're just using this. You could use a sponge to dab these in also. You could use Q-tips and dab them in. These are in front of those little leaves. And I'm just going to tell myself where this is going. Now, right now, doing this type of a thing, you could go and do Queen Anne's lace. This type of a style where you're seeing the sideways edge of the flower. Or the, you could do dandelion puffs this way. It's a dry brush. It's just a dry brush technique. So we have our 3 waves of buds. I am going to rinse this out, dry off the brush. I'm going to put out a little bit of the diazonine purple to mix with that blue, diazonine violet, tiny little bop. You see that little spot right there? It's smaller drop than the tip of my finger, because I'm really not going to use a lot. But I want the diazonine violet with the phthalo blue. And get the brush kind of loaded with both colors. And then I'm going to touch into the white. And we're going to use this to start putting in those buds. Again, dabbing, straight down on the brush. Look at that. If you have the white in one little spot on your brush, when you pick up all the other colors, you get a bit of light and dark. See this one right now? This is a lot more dark. I'm going to pull some white into that. These are the buds. Easy peasy. See how pretty that is? Doesn't take a lot to get this part in, huh? Diazonine violet, phthalo blue, bit of white. Come on over here. And these colors just lay in over each other. And they're dark enough and bright enough to lay in over the leaves. Oh, yeah. I want a little more of the dark up in here. And this is kind of the background for where the flowers are, so I can put more going right here. All right. Yeah, painting is something that's really good for anxiety, for taking you out of a situation for a little while. I mean, our brains are always going to bring us back. You don't have to worry about it. It's going to come back. But it's a way of delaying. If you can delay a worry for a little while, sometimes it's not as bad when it comes back. If you can delay a worry, it's kind of like delaying just delaying a bad, something that's bad, delaying a bad, you know it's going to be bad, but it's really not going to be as bad as you think it's going to be. Now, you can see where I'm starting to work that too much. I need to dry my brush off. I'm just rubbing it on one of those paper towels. I'm just rubbing it to dry it out. Then I'm going to tap down in those colors to get my variety back. There we go. So that it loosens it up a little bit and gives me the dots again. I want my dots back. See? Don't worry. Don't worry. You can do it. Yeah, okay, so I get taken over by the squirrels. They find me, they take my words away. My thoughts just sort of go into another place when I'm painting. All right, I think that's good. I want to dry those so that I don't lift those lovely dots up. Oh, except that I do want to put a little bit of some yellow and green in. And I think I'm going to actually, I'm pulling out all the different tools today. So right now, I just pulled out, it's a round dotting tool. Or, you know, it would be like for doing flowers and things like that on nails, or it would be used as an embossing tool when you're doing embossing through a stencil. So many different things. And as you can tell, this is a painting tool. I'm going to just set it down into some of that bright, bright yellow. Just sort of set it down. We're going to get a few little, oh, actually I want a little green to that. There we go. Get a little blue and a little yellow. And we're going to give it a few of these dots that are like the buds that are going to pop first. Just trying different tools, trying different ways of coming at this. The flowers tend to bloom from the bottom of the wave up. So there's flowers coming off the bottom here, flowers coming off the bottom here, and flowers coming off the bottom there. And then the next wave of flowers are where those dots are. And we're not too worried about making them perfect. They can be a little oblong. They can be a little ovally. They don't have to be perfect. But it's just another layer of fun that you can add to it. I am really, really, really getting detailed, or getting into the doodling again. Oh my goodness, I have been doodling like no one's business. It's going to be fun this next month. I'm going to be doodling and painting over, or painting watercolor or acrylic gouache down, and then using black pens and white pens to doodle over things. And then we can maybe go and put more paint on them. I don't know. Live shows. Just doing live shows. Probably not every day of the week, but who knows? I might, because I've really been enjoying having this stable thing to remember that I've got going on. Right now, though, I want to put some of these flowers in. We're going to go up here, and I'm going to try with my angle brush. And I'm taking phthalo blue into that white. Looks like I've got a little bit of green there. No worries. And, ooh, and a little touch of magenta. Tiny touch. Don't need a lot. Boom. That's it. That's all I did. About the same amount as purple. These flowers have a lot of white to them. And I'm going to see if I can get enough of variety of color going on so that I only have to touch the flower once. We'll see. Touch a petal once. That's going to be the goal. So, with the angle brush, I am going to go out, tip, and back. Ooh. Then come out, point, and then come back. That is working. We're going to go out and come back to the center. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. We will be putting more white out. But I'm kind of loading up. Look at how messy my hands are. I'm loading up a bit of white, a bit of the purple, and a bit of the blue. And we'll see. Now this one's going to get 4 petals. So we're going to go start in the middle. We're going to go up, out, point, come back towards the center. I need more white. We're going to go out, point, and wiggle. This is a wiggly flower. Out, point, and wiggle. So this one is a little bit trickier going in. You know, I need to turn my canvas. Let's get a little more purple on that one. Out, and come back. Out. Okay, so this one did not go in as easily as the first one. When you start playing with it and you start messing around, they do tend to... Ooh, that one's going to be more blue. Ah! See? I need more white so I can get that lovely shaded blue-white, because that's just too much. I like that first one that went in. A little more pink and blue and white. Okay, so I like going in, out, and back. So I'm doing it with the point going away. That's working better for me, which is really weird. It's kind of the backwards way of the brush. There. Turn it around, setting it down. I'm going up, out, and coming back. There. Okay. And when we put the center in, that's going to be just fine. Sometimes you guys have to see the frustration. You know? I think that it's good for you guys to see that it's not always easy for anybody or everybody. I'm trying it different ways. So this time I'm setting it down and kind of going out from the tip coming back. From the tip coming back. These are big ones. These are big, big, big. There's going to be some adjusting. I need a different brush. I'm going to just throw a couple little petals in here and there. Maybe put a shadow or something there. I don't know. But look at that. I mean, boom. Big wave. A big wave. Throw another petal in right there. There was a petal, the one that I said that looked like a butterfly. What can we do? Can we do a butterfly? I don't know. Maybe we'll just do a couple petals. That make you think of a butterfly. There. Bingo! I'm happy with that. We're going to move down. We're going to move down. And, you know, all the flowers seem to be about the same size. We've got a 3 petal. I need to get some of that. See, so this is what happens. Sometimes the paint just gets so full in your brush. Pinch it off. Pick up some fresh paint. I think I'm going to make one that's more white and pink. Or white and out. White and purple. There we go. Maybe a touch of blue. Like that. So then we've got up and back. Out and back. Ooh, maybe that one ended up underneath. Okay. play with it. Play with how your brush moves. You just don't want your petals to end up looking dry brushy. See how that one's really dry? That didn't work very well, did it? That's okay. Go back and just pick up some more paint that has a little bit more, oops, a little more blue, a little more moisture to it. See? Maybe this one is sort of on an angle to us. A little bit of a lift right here. I'm taking lighter color and just bringing it across. That one got bumped. Almost one stroke. Yeah, almost one stroke. We'll go back and we'll put the centers in. I do not claim to be a one-stroke painter. Whoops, I just picked up a giant glomp of green. Next, because I wasn't paying attention. So I need to move my blue. There. Move the blue. Grab some white. Just loosely putting the paint on the brush. But it's, you see how blended it's getting. Let's see, we're in the center. Right there. Kind of like that. Pretty little petals. And the least amount of messing around with them, the better. So even if it doesn't look perfect to your eye, just go. Just go with it. See, I'm not covering up all of those lovely little flower bud waves either. Let's see. There's some still showing through. Just a few little petals here and there. You don't have to do all of them. Look at that. See, we're just going to tuck a petal right here. And we're going to go and tuck a petal coming out over there. Maybe its little partners are back behind it. Whoops. That's okay. Add another petal. Add petals where you think they should go. You get to a point of, you know, I'm so far off of the reference now that I can just do what my, do what my little heart is telling me to do. Take them right off the edge, over your tape if you want to. They live in another world. So I'm going to dry that. I'm going to let it sit for a second. And as I do, if you have any questions, that brush is really, really full of paint. Getting me even more and more dirty on my paper napkin. So I need, set that there. We're going to do some details. I can't not do details. You guys know that, right? At this point. But I do need to get a little bit of that paint off my hands because it's really driving me nuts. Move my super wet, gross napkin out of the way and get a sort of less wet, gross napkin. I'm going to go in And let's see here. The centers tend to be the last thing that we're going to do. I'm not going to dry it. I am going to get some magenta and my liner brush and go in and give a few little lines here where they're coming into the centers. You know, just because that makes me happy to do. They're not perfect. They're little bits, though, that help to bring some stuff forward or give it a little bit of shadow. Little bits. We're good. The details bring things to life. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you'll find that as you play with things, you'll find brushes that you like best. You'll find details that you like to do best. And now all of these little lines that I'm putting in, some of them are going to get blurred out. Some of these lines really need to be like green, because maybe they're giving me those little tiny shadows really deep here and there. But I'm using the liner brush just because it's not as precise when I'm doing thicker paint. The paint actually comes off in unpredictable ways. And I like that. I like having some unpredictableness. Maybe I've got a little bit of a shadow that's showing up underneath on that leaf. I can soften that shadow out while the paint is still wet. See, some shadows underneath. Little bit. You don't have to worry too much about making it perfect. But think of how pretty this would be to paint up and give to a mother or a friend. You know, Mother's Day is coming up really soon. So if you have a mother or someone who you really honor as a mother, maybe one of your friends is the mother of your group, you know? There's always that person. There's always the mom in a group. Even if nobody has children, there's a mom in your group. They're the ones that call to make sure that you're okay when you get home, or tell you to call them and make sure that you got home safe. They're the friend that always reaches out during a bad situation. They just know. They just know. This liner is a rigger. It is a #1 rigger by Mimic. And it is a Creative Mark brush. On you can get them on Jerry's and Jerry's Artorama online. You can also get them on Amazon. All right. So let's see here. I am going to put my little center bits in. I'm just using the Diazinine Violet. They're not really that dark. They're more a blue, but you know what? It's the color that I have more of on my palette right now. So I'm just using it. Makes really nice little, this rigger brush makes really nice little dots. See, look at that. I think I've got all the, maybe I'll put a dot right there. See, as we start putting these little details in, everything starts coming together. It's really quite amazing. All right. So have you guys been having fun with this month? Has this been a month of learning and growing for you? I'm just looking for another brush. Been a month of learning and growing? I waited a little bit long on blurring out some of those lines. So if you wait too long to blur out a line, just go grab some white and a little bit of color, whatever color it is you used, and put in the color. So you can adjust. Maybe I wanted that to be much lighter. You can adjust. You are not limited. And yep, I could go in and totally go over all those flowers if I wanted to. I'm not going to. Oh, good. You know, I'm really excited to be able to do these types of things, these types of paintings and lessons. So, putting a little highlight on that petal right there, so it comes forward a bit. Put a little bit of a shadowy bit right down here. Just little bits. I'm not going to repaint over all the flower. Not all the flowers are going to get painted over. Individual petals might get something here and there, but not the whole thing. See, shadow and light. Shadow and light. Little bits. That one I want more light. When you want light, just add a little white to your color. You don't want it to be just straight white, because these flowers have a variety in them. And if you get too much of a white on there, you can always work it back and move the color around. The acrylic gouache is really great this way because you can do these highlights, do these shadows. I need some more phthalo blue. I need more phthalo blue. Where'd it go? There it is. Whoa, that was too much phthalo blue. So let's see. If I squeeze my tube and then suck it up a little bit. Yeah, I did a little. I'll just have to paint a background all blue. Because that's way more than I needed. But thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that you have been learning things this month. That you feel like you're gaining a lot of skills. So but you know, if it's keeping you happy, and that's a really good thing, then, you know, in this day with all of the wild and crazy that's going on, sometimes painting all day is not a bad thing. As long as you're eating and drinking your water and getting up and moving, you know, those are all wins. Taking some more of that white with a little bit of blue in it. Give me a little highlight here and there. Now at this point, I can let it dry brush just a smidge, because hydrangeas have almost a little sparkle to them. I've noticed, at least. We grow hydrangeas like crazy around the Pacific Northwest, so. But this is just giving me some variety in my petals. Not too worried about perfection here, you know. Picked up a little bit of the phthalo blue with a bit of white. It's nice having the phthalo blue now. And even on some of these purplier flowers, I might go and take a bit of that blue in, because hydrangeas have so much of a variety in their petals. We're not going to put the little veins in particularly, but we are giving them a bit of shadow and highlight. The flowers that are closest to you in the very front are the ones that you want to work the most on. So look at that. I put some blue down, straight phthalo blue, and now I'm blending it out. But I put it down very, very lightly, kind of dry brushed, and now I'm just taking a wet brush to spark it up a little. Thank you, Tammy. I like being somebody that you feel that you won when you found me. You know. I don't want to be seen as a waste of time. I never want to waste anyone's time, so I try to get things done in a timely manner. But I'm also just a real painter, just a person who's, you know, painting and figuring things out as I go along. So sometimes they take longer, and that's just because, you know, I'm really painting. I'm not filming it ahead of time and speeding through. See that one right there? I want to maybe put a little spark of white. Maybe a little spark of white on that petal there. You see how it's blending and moving. The petals are morphing around. We're getting more variety, more shape. And you can stop at any point. And you can say, I think I have done enough at some point. And if you say you've done enough, then you've done enough. Now that one I need a little bit darker right here. And right there. Rinse it out. Wipe it around. It allows it to blend. Become a glaze. See, you can glaze. Oh my gosh, you can glaze with these paints so nicely. It's not going to underbind. You're working on top of the acrylic with more acrylic. There. See? 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 Ha ha ha. Little bit of dark right there needs to be put right along here and under that one there. And then blend it out. Again, you can stop when it makes sense to you. And this is a number 2 ruby satin round that I've been doing these little details with. Okay, I'm going to sneeze. Or not. Oh, pardon me. Oh. Debbie, the last time I got my acrylics out was last summer. And I think you were doing some palette knife painting. I did a sunset waterfall after those. Oh, I'm so glad that this brought it out again for you. Yeah, because the binders in the acrylic gouache are made to be painted with more like watercolors. They will stay stuck better and won't underbind. Now, you don't do a watery bottom coat on canvas, but that very first coat of paint that I put on could have been more watered down. It takes a lot to break down the polymers in these paints. You could, I guess you could, but since we're working on paper, which isn't as flexible as fabric, excuse me. Thank you for the bless yous after my sneeze. Now, I just have a little bit of paint in the brush, and I'm just going and putting a few little shadowy bits. I think we're getting really close. What do you guys think? Are you feeling pretty much done with this now? Are you ready to move on to bigger and better and greater and all of that? I just picked up some of the magenta on that brush, and there was still the water. This petal was just a little bit not very sharp on the edge. It was kind of dry brushy, so I just wanted to firm that edge up. And you can do that. You can go back in, outline something, soften the line, make it a stronger line. Say, you know what, I really want this one to show up in front. So I'm taking some of that magenta and white and purple and giving it an outline, and then I will work some of that paint that's behind it down into those flower buds, and I might put a little bit more of the blue behind this side of the petal, because that's the shadow, the color that you would see on that other flower. Your shadows are going to be variations of the colors that you are working on top of. So the shadow is going to be a variation of a blue, or the shadow is going to be a variation of a purple in these flowers. But sometimes you can take a blue shadow into a purple flower, or a purple shadow into a blue flower. Just play with it. See what feels right. Okay, we're going to zoom out here for a second and see what this is looking like, because I need it at a wider view. Oh, yeah, that is looking really, really good. I see that I have not put any stems in. So I'm going to work a few little stems with burnt sienna and a bit of that yellow and a little bit of phthalo blue. And we're going to get a couple stems in here. More burnt sienna and yellow, I think. Because they're sort of a reddy brown, yellow, kind of a muddy brown color in there. So there's a stem here, and maybe there's a bit of a stem coming off the leaf. There's a stem there, bit of a stem up in here, Little bits. Little bits. They don't require a lot. We'll darken that up with a little bit of phthalo blue, so the area where it's coming down underneath of things is in the shadow. In the shadow. That one's more shadowy. We'll put a little bit of yellow-green right there. See, we're not too worried about this being perfect, but it gives you an idea that there's something there. There's a reason why those leaves and stems can hold all together. Ha. Oh, it's looking so pretty. I think that the centers need a little bit of a sparkle of white and magenta, maybe. I need to put a little touch more white out. And my tube from the kit of white actually did make it all the way through this month. Totally cool. All right, white, just the tiniest touch of pink into it. Magenta, tiny touch. And then we're going to go just little sparks. On the tops of those little centers. You know, what can I say? You do a detail and then you go, oh, I need to detail that little bit. And so it's sort of a never-ending story that you're writing this story. So your decision on when enough is enough. It's all your decision. Putting a little bit of detail in the centers of some of these. Maybe as highlights, maybe as shadows. Maybe I need to put a little bit of dark right there because I just took out the flowers back here. Which flowers are you talking about? Yeah, there are all kinds of tweaking. The tapping flowers behind need a touch of phthalo. They were actually phthalo blue, the diosynine violet, and the magenta. And they are just the tiny little buds. Oh, I see what you mean in the very top. Got it. I see that. I see where you're coming from on that. Let's just go and see, that's too white or too dark. Needs a little bit of something to spark it up here. That's a bit bright. Well, first we'll do that and then we'll Thank you. I like that suggestion. And I just picked up the rigger brush to do my little dots here. Not any reason except that was a brush that was sitting there. Probably not the best brush to do. But you know what? We do what we do. Just give it a little bit of a brighter halo on top. And then touch it with a bit of the dark. You don't want to have your paint be too thick. It does have acrylic in it, so it's not going to flake off like a regular gouache would flake if you have it too thick. But You really don't paint impasto, super bright or super thick with gouache. There we go. Needed all my words. Needed all the words. Maybe right here needs a little bit of the dark also. You know? Let's just do it up. Again, it's just tweak the details that you feel comfortable tweaking and don't worry about the other ones. Because people's brains will actually fill in so much of this painting. You would be so surprised at how little you need of something for somebody to think, oh, that's hydrangeas. Oh, that's a bunch of blue flowers. Those are flower buds. They're just dots. They're just dots. There we go. Bright. And I thought that I would be done really, 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 really fast on this one, guys. I am so, so invested in it now that I just keep doing more and more. But you don't have to. You can stop, like I said, at any point. Give yourself a pat on the back just for doing it. You don't... Okay, I see one line. I see a line that needs to go in for a shadow. Another bit of a line for a shadow. What can I say? I keep seeing little bits and go, oh, but if I do that, it just pops that up and makes it more 3D feeling. Just like right here, I think is going to get a little stroke of a little bit brighter blue. And then, boop, a little bit of white. But again, stop when it's fun. Stop before it becomes a drudge. If you start getting frustrated with it because it's not going the way you want it to go, just give it a break. Like, I forgot that I had started doing those little shadowy bits underneath the flowers. And I was going to soften them out. And it makes a difference to me. So I'm going to go back and take care of them. I just added a little bit more paint under there so I had something to blur out. There we go. Not anything really big. I just wanted to get an idea of these being dark underneath of the flowers. Tiny bit of the Viridian green, just a tiny bit, not... It's mostly just so I have something to glaze with and make some of these leaves feel a little bit more like they're underneath. There we go. I am going to sign it. Whoop! After I blur that one out. Ooh, look at that. There we go. Make that green go into the background a little more. And if you look here, I really don't have any of my chalk lines showing up. I have a little touch of yellow and white that I'm going to put back right here at the very top edge. Just gives it a little bit of a loose fairy dust sparkle right at the top. And they can just be floating. They don't have to be perfect. But how do you like that? A little bit of fairy dust sparkle right on the very tops of those. Pretty. All right. Signing. And I think I am going to sign, I'll just sign with Phthalo Blue. Right here. I'm going to go over here to this side, I think, this time. There we are. Now we are going to go in and move the paint. So I'm not putting my hand in it. We're going to take the tape off. This is going to be so pretty. Just get those things all shifted out of the way. So pull the tape off. Thank you guys for being here, for sharing your time with me. Now remember that when this stuff comes underneath of the tape, I don't worry about it. I just go in with clean white gouache and just clean up those edges. Sometimes tape doesn't stick down as firmly as you wish, and that's okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so I know I've already gone in and said, hey, it's done. I've signed it. I'm going to put a little bit of the lighter white blue right there. Just to pop that up just a little bit. And maybe this is a funny little hydrangea butterfly. I don't know. Maybe your brain thinks it might be a butterfly. My brain thinks it might be a butterfly, but I'm not sure. So it's loosely interpreted. Thank you. Oh, please share this video with your friends. Share it on your Facebook pages, on your Facebook feeds, on your Pinterest, on Twitter, all the places. Share the video, share with your friends, take care of yourself, do something creative, and that way you'll be able to take care of those you love. I hope to see you back here again tomorrow for the flip through of all the paintings done in this month. Take care, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, don't forget, there's a playlist up above with all of the monthly paintings for Acrylic April.